You don't want everyone to like you, ladies and gentlemen, camera one. You want the right people to like you, because the right people pay the bills and feed the soul. 2 for 1, okay? Game over.
I know we have a lot to talk about since the last episode.
Right.
You've had a lot to talk about in general. You've been crushing my Twitter feed, per usual. And I'm really excited about everything you've got going on because, as we've talked over the past couple months, you said you felt this really renewed sense of self with your artistry.
Yeah. So I've kind of come into this, after Miami Music Week, Marco Carolla, Martinez Brothers rearranged my brain. It just put everything into very clear perspective. I know what I'm here to do, and I'm doing it with a purpose and with intention. And what I initially came into this, it's you get lost in the minutia of things, you get lost in the political things, but ultimately what drives you is the love for the fucking music. Mm-hmm. So I was happily able to get to that place again, and to feel that once again was something that I wish everyone could feel. It's like, you know your purpose. So feeling that again is like basically the meaning of life. It's like, why are you here? And I know why I'm here. And
you are very open. Everything you've just said to me, you've said online. You say to your fans. And I like that because you're showing us the inside of your brain. And I feel like when people then hear your new music, they kind of know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And it's real. You're all about being authentic.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's important. Yeah.
And there's alignment between what you're saying and what you're putting into your music.
Yeah. You got to walk the walk and you got to talk the talk. Because if they don't align, then something's off. Mm-hmm. And if you're one thing and not the other, it doesn't make sense. And you feel it, and you see it, and you know it. And I'm being very obscure, but I know there's people that go out to shows and they see their favorite artist, but it doesn't hit. Mm-hmm. But then you go see the one that you didn't know was your favorite artist, and you leave obsessed. Like as if it's like a new video game or your new love of your life. You can't stop talking about it. Those are the moments in this community that I want to cultivate and talk about and shine a light on. Recently, I've been showing, a noter or another. I don't know how to say your name. I love you. Please contact me. I love you so much. How We Feel. That song does something. When you hear that song, it generates an emotion, whether you like it or not. It could be 80 years old, 20 years old, 5 years old. Dancing is the bare minimum, but internally something is going on. And those are the moments where I want to shine the spotlight. And I've been putting it on my Twitter. This is the song of the summer. Mm-hmm. I'm promoting someone else's music. That's how much.
You do that a lot.
Because it's not about me. It's about us. It's about the community that we cultivate. It's about what we can do together. I don't want to be on the biggest stage. I want to just be here, part of this. And I want people to also feel that way.
You want it to be meaningful.
Yeah.
And I asked you this before, but a lot has transpired in a year, a lot of amazing things. Do you feel, I know how you feel, being this open and honest about your thoughts on the scene and the state of what's happening in dance music, do you think that hinders you from opportunities? And I ask because there are people who watch my show who want to be as vocal, but they're afraid that it'll be a non-starter for them if they are.
I think logistically, it could detriment what you're doing, especially if you don't have the big enough voice to combat it. But look at the shows and the podcasts that we're all listening to. Maybe we're not saying that we are. Everyone listens to Joe Rogan. What is he doing? He's just being himself and he's being curious. He has very common sense views. Yes, he's messed up and owned up to it, and his honesty and authenticity was able to traverse what things he did wrong, and now he's bigger than ever. He's bigger than the news.
So it's not. A lot of people are afraid of being canceled.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting past a point where it's like people are sick of cancel culture, and which is a good thing because
I
it
agree.
went too far. Like
Yes.
we've lost the plot.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is if you're open and honest and authentic and you're yourself and you own up to things and you admit when you're wrong.
Yes, 100%. That moment right there, when you admit you are wrong, what people don't seem to realize is that that's actually a power move. Because when you see someone admit they're wrong, you can trust them. You can go and say, you know what? Yeah, they were wrong, and they readjusted and they corrected. The people that I don't trust are the people that never admit they're wrong.
Yeah.
And they assume that the people will just forget and they'll just carry on with their life. And here's my new song, here's my new t-shirt, and buy my thing and this and that, come to my show. I want people that want to be in this culture for the reason the culture exists. It's for us. It's for everybody involved. It's not about you. It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about us.
Yeah, I think that that's really noble. I think on the other side of that coin, we do tend to move on from things so quickly. There's always a new
it's fast.
scandal. There's always a new something to pay attention to.
Right.
So people kind of take advantage of that fact and get away with doing things that are kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to forget about it, the next day and move on to the next thing.
Perfect example, Diddy. Remember his parties? I heard about his parties a long time ago. Bro, I got into Diddy's party. Oh, dude, you should have been there.
Good thing you weren't.
I'm pretty happy I didn't go to the party, dude.
Yeah.
And now the truth is coming out. And what's more powerful than the truth? That is going to be a stain on this person's career for his entire life, unfortunately.
Do you think that this industry attracts a lot of shady people?
Unfortunately, I think you'll see this in a lot of different industries. There's a spotlight because it's like a public parasocial thing where people attach themselves to an artist and they adopt it as a personality. And I think that it's kind of natural because you fall in love. It's a feeling of deep emotion when you go to a show and it moves you. So it makes sense. But at the same time, it creates this power imbalance where people that don't have your best interest are now in control of how you think and feel. And I don't think that's right. I think it should be community-based. Let me go back one sec. When I travel the US and I go to a party in North Carolina, in Wilmington, of all places, and I feel the vibe of the culture, the attention to detail that they put in, and I'm literally with no words. I go, what you are doing is exactly what this is about.
So whose responsibility is it to curate and preserve the roots of this culture?
Ultimately, I think it's up to everyone involved. But if you have a voice and you have a big enough platform, I think it behooves you to say stuff that at least tilts it in the right direction. I don't think that we should just stand quiet and just... When I promote my own music and I don't say shit about nothing, I feel like I have a mouth tape over my mouth. It's like, I see the world. I'm not lying to myself. I have my thoughts. Like, I can't go to bed at night knowing I didn't say something about that injustice or what this. I have to say it. I'm going to die one day. My legacy is what I did and what I said. There's no other way around it. I wish I could. I wish I could not have these thoughts. But I'm compelled.
So we talked about that a little bit last time. I go back and forth on this, I'm going to be honest with you. Because, for example, and I don't even want to get into it, everything that's happening in the world right now with politics, there's been a lot of people who said, why hasn't so-and-so said something about the crisis in the Middle East?
Yeah.
I feel like we put too much faith into people who entertain us.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you know a lot of artists. I know a good amount of artists. I don't necessarily want to know what they have to say because it's probably not that intelligent.
Fair enough.
So do you think that it's truly their responsibility? Now I'm going wider here than just talking about dance music. Do you truly think it's their responsibility, or do you really think that we need to hear everybody's opinions on important topics?
If you feel compelled enough to say something out in public, you should be able to know that you're going to have to defend that argument. And also, and if you feel like you are wrong, you should be able to retort and come back and say, you know what? Now that you've told me what you said, I reassessed. I'm incorrect. Thank you for telling me these facts that I wasn't aware of or I didn't really consider. And I'm sorry. You know what? My bad. That should be okay. It should be okay to be wrong. And also have a moment of clarity where you come back and you are honest, because we all are. We all have different lives. We have the personal life and we have the public life. And ultimately, my brand is me. Like, LUCATI is me. You're
the same person in and out of the
good
booth.
And bad, right? Good and bad. I understand. I can be annoying. I can ramble on. I can hammer a joke in till it's dead. I know all about that. Because I'm me. I know. I see it. You know? Oh, this tweet's not doing so good. Yeah, all right. The joke's dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, you've used that to make a brand for yourself, but that's authentic to you. What I always tell people, and we've talked about this, is like, if making TikToks makes you want to gouge your eyes out, why are you doing it? Who's forcing you to do it? That's not going to be a good end product. If something comes naturally, it's easy for you, do that thing. And for you, it's having a discourse about whatever you feel like that day. And that's great. I don't think that everybody can do that or everybody should do that.
I understand your point, but basically the general thing that I'm trying to say is whatever you're compelled to do and you're holding yourself beholden, excuse me, you should definitely consider how to maneuver that situation, because yourself and who you are as a public figure are not in agreement, and therefore you are not being honest with the people around you in either your personal life or your public life.
That's
so
true.
I'd rather people just start doing this. Now we know who you are, and now we can discuss one-to-one.
Do you think that most artists are the same person?
I've seen a lot of people in this industry that touch my heart and make me feel heard and understand everything, all the plights and this, and the magic of it all. And I've also seen the other side. I've seen people that come into this and they lose themselves and who they are, and they don't know the way forward. They say one thing and they do another. And they might even be friends, but the discourse between that and that, I can't calculate it. And I consider myself a pretty decent, at least good, like standard bearer. I can feel when someone's being honest or dishonest. And when that doesn't align and you're leading the masses, it creates a problem within me, and I know it's within you, because you're just not talking about it. Because if I'm feeling it, you definitely are.